In the summer of 2014, the NBA held its breath. It started with one awkward landing, followed by a horrifying scream, and in a single moment, a career was changed forever. Team USA's rising superstar Paul George lay on the court, his leg visibly broken, the crowd stunned into silence. Cameras quickly cut away. Teammates couldn't bear to look. And in that instant, a single question echoed across the league. Would Paul George ever be the same again? Most players aren't, but Paul George's story didn't end there. Instead, it became one of the most forgotten comebacks in NBA history. Before the injury, Paul George was becoming something truly special. Drafted 10th overall in 2010 by the Indiana Pacers, he wasn't seen as a future superstar. He was raw, quiet, and needed to fill out his frame. But with each season, his game exploded. By 2013, he wasn't just good, he was elite. He was guarding LeBron James full court, leading the Pacers to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals and establishing himself as one of the best two-way players in the game. At just 24 years old, he represented the future of the NBA. Then, he got the call to join Team USA, a chance to train with the best of the best. And that's when everything went horribly wrong. August 1st, 2014, a Team USA scrimmage. No roaring fans, no high stakes, just players preparing for the world stage. Paul George chased down a fast break, jumped to contest the shot, and landed awkwardly on the base of the basket stanchion. His leg snapped on impact. The gym fell silent as players froze and coaches rushed onto the floor. It wasn't just an injury. It was a nightmare unfolding in real time. Doctors later confirmed a complete fracture of both the tibia and fibula, a season-ending, career-threatening injury. For most athletes, a break this severe is the end of the road, and the league quietly began to move on. The road back wasn't glamorous. There were no crowds, no highlight reels, just grueling pain, nagging doubt, and the feeling of isolation. Paul George later admitted he battled intense fear, not just from the physical pain, but from the mental scars. Would he ever trust his leg again? Would he still have the same explosive athleticism? Would he still be the same Paul George? While the NBA celebrated new stars and emerging talents, he was rebuilding himself in silence. He learned to play with less raw speed and more refined skill, focusing on smarter movements. He wasn't trying to recapture his old game. He was evolving it. When Paul George finally returned in 2015, the hype had faded. There was no grand comeback tour, no heroic narrative being pushed. There were only expectations, and yet he delivered. He became a better shooter, a smarter defender, and a more complete scorer than he was before. By 2018, Paul George finished third in MVP voting and top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year, proving he was one of the league's best on both ends of the floor. But something strange happened. The NBA didn't celebrate his incredible comeback. They focused on what he wasn't. Because Paul George wasn't loud or dramatic, and he didn't dominate the headlines, the narrative around him shifted. Missed shots in the playoffs turned into viral memes. Tough losses became labels that stuck. He was called not clutch, not a leader, not that guy. But the numbers told a completely different story. Multiple All-NBA selections, elite defense year after year, and consistent playoff production when healthy. Paul George didn't fail to meet expectations. He was simply misunderstood. Most players never recover from an injury like the one he suffered. Paul George didn't just return, he thrived. He reinvented his game, extended his prime, and remained an elite player in an unforgiving league. But because his comeback wasn't flashy and didn't fit a perfect Hollywood script, it was largely forgotten. Yet quietly, Paul George proved something rare and powerful. You don't have to be the loudest star to be great. And the strongest comebacks are often the ones no one celebrates. His career isn't about what he lost that day. It's about everything he overcame. And maybe one day, the NBA will finally remember the comeback they forgot. Thanks for watching.